A shocking image. A crazed woman holding a knife above a 3-year-old boy in a shopping cart in a Walmart parking lot. The child's parents are now coming forward to say their son is okay after the big scare. Stephen Fabian has the details.
It's terrifying, as scary as it gets. A crazed woman is holding a large kitchen knife, threatening a 3-year-old boy sitting in a shopping cart. Then she raises the knife and appears poised to stab him. 31-year-old Noemi Guzman was killed when 2 responding officers opened fire to save the little boy. The drama unfolded at a Walmart in Omaha, Nebraska. Police say surveillance video from inside the store showed the suspect shoplifting the knife and forcing the boy and his nanny out of the store. When police rushed to the scene, they demanded she drop the knife, but they say she refused, and they opened fire. 3-year-old Kyler Hillman was slashed across the face. His parents shared these photos of him in the hospital. The parents and the little boy spoke to the press this afternoon.
It was one of the officers involved. He told me what happened, and I just held the kid and started crying right there. I mean, that was all I could do.
He is doing really good. He's smiling, he's joking, he's being the usual 3-year-old kid. So, which is just amazing to see.
Noemi Guzman was well known to law enforcement in Omaha and reportedly suffered from schizophrenia. She was placed in an outpatient treatment program. Now, this.
The police chief praised the officers' actions, saying they acted with courage and decisiveness.
哦，它是一个方形的，我们无法清晰的辨识它的头部。啊，但它跑得很稳。好可爱。跑累了。Hello。想过去。带着一个路灯。
We have been able to confirm that there is a rapid increase in the operation of the Yongbyon 5 megawatt reactor. All of them point to a very serious increase in the capabilities of the DPRK in the area of nuclear weapons production, which is estimated at a few dozen warheads.
Researcher has been sentenced to more than 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to smuggling E. coli bacteria DNA into the United States from China. This is intriguing. Eric Shawn, what you find out? Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Bill. Well, another Chinese student charged now with smuggling biological materials into our country, and this time he pled guilty. It happens to be the third recent case involving prohibited pathogens. Youwang Jiang was a PhD researcher in the Department of Biology at Indiana University. You know, he was allowed into our country on a student visa, but he pled guilty to illegally bringing in biological pathogens from China. Court papers say he admitted he was a member of the Chinese Communist Party, and authorities say he was connected to a Chinese government-tied biolab all the time he was living here in Indiana for the last 3 years. Court papers say 2 years ago, someone in China sent him a package to his Bloomington, Indiana apartment that's right near the university. That package was labeled as women's underwear. But the FBI was suspicious because that shipment came from a Chinese scientific company, and it turned out the box contained E. coli DNA samples. You know, E. coli can make people seriously ill, especially children and adults over 65. The Bureau has been investigating Chinese nationals illegally smuggling banned biomaterial into the U.S. Special agent in charge of the Indianapolis FBI office, Timothy O'Malley, calls biosmuggling a serious concern that he says can pose a threat to national security.
You could certainly utilize biological material, genetically modified material brought into our country that could pose a risk to our health or our economy. Absolutely could. In this case, we were fortunate it did not happen, but this problem is not an isolated problem either.
Well, Jiang was sentenced to 4 months in jail and ordered deported immediately. By the way, Mr. O'Malley also told us that the FBI is taking Chinese-related smuggling very seriously. He calls the potential risk of all this huge.
For starting a fire in the Ontario warehouse where he worked appeared in court today. The employee entering his plea in front of a judge. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the latest from the courtroom.
Kamal Abdul Karim pleading not guilty to charges of aggravated arson today, accused of setting fire to an Ontario warehouse where he worked last week, causing more than $500 million in damage. Abdul Karim was an employee there. On social media, this video, which is part of the police investigation, showing paper products being set on fire.
If you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this.
Not only is he facing 10 years to life in prison if convicted on state charges, but he's facing federal charges as well. At the scene today, the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms assisting with the investigation. Heavy equipment operating inside what's left of the building. Now a mountain of rubble. Some areas still smoldering. Some of the outer walls appear to be buckling. All of this damage allegedly caused by one man.
This act of violence apparently was driven by his hostility to capitalism and corporations.
At a news conference last Friday, First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Lasaley describing text messages and phone calls allegedly made by the defendant to his co-workers.
The defendant wrote, quote, "All you had to do was pay us enough to live, pay us more of the value we bring, not corporations. Didn't see the shareholders picking up a shift," unquote. In a phone call to one witness, the defendant compared himself to Luigi Mangione.
Eyewitness News reached out to a family member of Abdul Karim's, but he chose not to comment. We also spoke with one of the employees here, now out of work after the fire, He told us he estimates hundreds of people are now looking for new jobs because of what happened.
Abdul Karim will be back in court early next month. For now, he remains behind bars, no bail. In Ontario, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
At 5, we've talked a lot about water issues here in Arizona, but residents of one Arizona town, they are really on edge. They are facing the real chance that they could run out of water this summer.
That's right. Town officials in Kearney sent notes to their residents telling them that the town doesn't have enough water.
12 News journalist William Pitts explains what happened in that town and how officials are hoping to keep those taps running.
Town officials have been trying to come up with something for months, but now, unless they find a solution fast, this town of 2,200 people will run out of water right in the middle of summer. The note on the door of City Hall lays it all out. The green bar is how much water Kearney uses. The purple line is how much water they have. When the green bar hits the purple line, that's it. They're out of water. And that will be 3 months from now.
We only flush once or twice a day. And it's Kearney, so after dark you can pee anywhere you want.
Jerry Kaufhold is throwing every idea he has out there.
I'm wearing shirts 2 days in a row just to cut my laundry in half.
It's not an exaggeration either. The town says the faucets will literally run dry for 2,200 people.
It is really tragic, and it's nobody's fault. The reality is there's just no water available for everybody's use.
Mayor Curtis Stacey is trying to figure out how to save his town.
I've learned more about water law than I ever wanted to know. It's not a challenge that I was looking to face.
The town of Kearney gets all of its water from the Gila River, and it's regulated by something called the Globe Equity Decree. It's a very old agreement that divides up the Gila River water between mining companies, Native American tribes, and towns. That means in a bad drought year, like now, Kearney gets its water cut. Kearney uses about 280 acre-feet of water. This year, they're only getting 77.
Well, the water will be in the ground. There will be water there. There will be water likely in the river. We just won't have a right to it.
Town officials are trying to fix up some old wells, but that won't be near enough water. No one in the town can use water for anything but drinking and sanitation. And Mayor Stacey is trying to convince the nearby mines to sign over some of their water.
We need to clear a path for that to happen, and that means everybody along this river would have to agree to a transfer of water.
That means any of the other groups that get water can veto that idea, even if the mine agrees. That leaves the entire town in limbo.
We're looking to get 50-gallon barrels so we can harvest rainwater.
They hope a good monsoon will help them get to the end of the year. If not, the clock is running, and the water won't be. William Pitts, 12 News.
There are so many communities dealing with outdated water agreements that basically aren't supplying what we need, including